A regular meeting of the City Council was held in council chambers on Thursday, November 15th, 2018 at 7 p.m. for the purpose of transacting any and all business. Notice of this meeting was posted on November 13th, 2018 at 9:09 a.m. This meeting is being taped and is live on SATV. Councilors absent are Councilors Dominguez and Milo. Council President Gerard, that's me, presided. Councilor Terry will move to dispense with the reading of the record of the previous meeting. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. And I request that everyone please rise to recite the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilor Fury.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And actually, before everyone sits down, I wanted to ask everyone to rise so we can have a moment of silence for Senator Fred Berry, who passed away this week. Thank you. Councilor Fury?
Yes, Madam President, County Personal Privilege, if I may.
Of course.
Thank you very much. I'd like to make the following statement that I am going to be retiring public service. It's my time. There's a time for everything, and this would be my last elective office, school committee included, and I want to wish my colleagues the very best, but I want to give them the time and opportunity. Each one of you think of the opportunity of serving as council at large. It's a wonderful opportunity that I've loved for 22 years now, and enjoy it. It's the right time, and I want to share with you, 50 years ago marks my 50th anniversary of graduating from Salem High School. 50 years from Salem High School, and I worked in the Salem High School yearbook. I'm very active at Salem High School and try to be active here, and it was the year of 1968. 1968. Some of us may remember 1968. It was the year of Tet in Vietnam. It was the year Senator McCarthy almost knocked off Lyndon Baines Johnson in New Hampshire. It was the year Bobby Kennedy entered the race afterwards. And it was the year Lyndon Johnson stepped down, announced that he would not seek re-election. And it was also the year Dr. Martin Luther King was killed and Bobby Kennedy was killed. And then finally, in November, Nixon was elected as President of the United States. It was a very momentous year, crucible experience for this country. We haven't recovered since that time. And the yearbook staff decided, if I may, Madam President, to do Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 8, as the theme, to put it all together, the year. And it says, embossed on my yearbook with great pride, to everything there is a season and a time, to every purpose under heaven. So I believe this is my time and opportunity to look and say thank you for the years that I served in public office, and look forward to enjoying the rest of my life in a little bit different capacity. I recently had the opportunity over the last year to visit the different homes. I love history and I love Salem so much, but I visited the homes of former presidents. Roosevelt's home in Hyde Park, Robert Todd Lincoln's home up in Vermont, his summer home, President Lincoln's last surviving son, President Kennedy's home in Brookline, and finally, Calvin Coolidge's home in New Hampshire. And I went to the gift shop and I said, wow, that would be just right for this opportunity. And Calvin Coolidge was a man of few words, And there was a cute saying, if I may test your memory, Calvin Coolidge, before the Depression, two ladies get together and say, I bet we can get Silent Cal to speak more than 3 words. 3 words. And his response was, you lose. 2 words. So if I may share with you, I said, well, this is a marvelous opportunity to share with you, and I bought it for this occasion, and I'll be wearing it next summer as you campaign for election. I do not choose to run. Retire from public service and say thank you to all of you and give the opportunity to serve. I hope someone steps up. It's going to be an off-year election coming up with no mayor on the ballot. due to my fault. Years ago, I got a 4-year mayor on the ballot. It's now a 4-year mayor. And that's going to be very difficult. Anybody who's running for office has got to take it seriously. You can't rely on your name. There's only one Fury in the Salem telephone book, one Fury. You can't rely on name. So you have to go out there and work hard. And I hope whoever goes for public office, number of people are interested in public office, there's an opening. When I won back 22 years ago, I had to be an incumbent. But I had the opportunity, I had the privilege to serve in the school committee for 12 years. I had name recognition. After a teacher strike, I walked before the strike, I walked during the strike for the teachers, and I walked afterwards for the teacher strike, because I was a teacher. I didn't forget my roots. So I had that opportunity to run, and I beat an incumbent. So it's not easy to beat an incumbent. So I thought, if I retire now, there'd be an opening, and there'd be an interesting democratic race in the off-year election for at-large and city council. So think of it. It's been a privilege and opportunity to serve, but I want to give my year's notice, give everybody the opportunity. So thank you, Madam President, for the opportunity and a point of personal privilege. I love serving, and I'm going to miss you and all of you, and I look forward to serving you in the rest of the year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Hearings, none. Councillor Terrio? Oh my God, I forgot public testimony. Wow. I haven't been here doing for a few weeks. I'm thrown off. So public testimony, we just have one person. Tim Clark.
Thank you.
Thank you. And name and address for the record, please.
Sure. Tim Clark. I live at 63 Riverview Avenue in Danvers. For the couple of the councilors that I haven't met yet, my family and I own Waters and Brown, the paint store on Derby Street, and we own 4 of the properties down near there along the South River. And I apologize for reading my remarks, but it'll keep me succinct and I won't forget what I wanted to say. It's not easy to invest and upgrade properties along the South River in the year 2018. There's Chapter 91, which deals with tidelands, and many of the properties along the South River fall under this. There were good intentions behind the creation of Chapter 91, but in my experience, it goes too far, and it's selectively enforced. Our other challenge is the Salem Harbor Plan. Again, good intentions, but lays out a number of financial and logistical hurdles for property owners. The combination of these two I call planning purgatory. You have to be a little bit out of your mind to do what we are thinking about doing there. There's probably more pride and civic mindfulness than business sense around this project when it comes down to it. Mayor Driscoll has a vision for the park, including having our property at 285 Derby Street reoriented with windows and entrances facing the park similar to Lappin Park. We like that idea and have spent a decent amount of time and money on plans to bring this about. We did file a Chapter 91 permit and are committed to building the Harbor Walk along both 285 Derby Street and 283 Derby Street where Notch is. We need this walkway that we're talking about tonight to redevelop the property for retail and restaurant use. We are committed to paying for this access. We think everyone here will be happy with the project once completed. Of course, the SRA and the DRB will have input along the way. We think the park will be better for having shop and restaurant owners and workers overlooking the park and its activity. There would be more activity through the park and through the Harbor Walk, both which would be great. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let me try this again. Hearings, none. Now, Councilor Terrio, did you want to? Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we go out of order to page 21, committee reports, and take the top item.
Okay. And committee reports, Councilor McCarthy?
Hold on 1 second. I've got a few tonight, so I just gotta make
I
sure.
know,
I get
you're
the
getting a
right
lot
one.
done. I'm
Ah,
very
there it is.
impressed.
Thank you, Madam President. Sorry for that. City of Salem City Council, November 15, 2018. The Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the appointment of John Boris to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, has considered said matter and recommend a positive recommendation to the full council.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. We had a meeting, and Mr. Boris came in and met with the committee, and the committee has decided to move Mr. Boris's appointment to this board out favorably. And I could go on at length talking to you about John Boris and what he does and his for the city of Salem, and what he's done, what he does for people in need, especially with around housing. And I can't tell you how many stories and you've heard about people who were displaced or needed a place, and he's been able to go above and beyond and do it. And I think his insights to this board, I think, will be invaluable. And the committee recommended it out favorably, and I wholeheartedly ask for everyone's support. And then I believe, because it's going to come out of committee, we'll have to ask for a roll call vote.
Thank you. Councilor Fury.
Madam President, there are angels among us, angels, human angels, and we need human angels. And what better angel in the city of Salem than John Boris on this committee? He's devoted his entire life to helping those in need. Homelessness is not a recent problem. As we celebrate this Thanksgiving season, we should all be thankful for what we have. For the people who are no homes in Lawrence and Andover, celebrating Thanksgiving is a very difficult time for some people, thousands of people up there, and for the people in California with the fires going on. Homelessness is a very human problem, a human face. And John is there, a couple ship in, getting homes, staying there for a while, getting their feet on ground. He's there. He and his wife, they make quilts and gifts for each one, personal touches to those who are homeless. So John, you're a living angel. And for one who was homeless, my family was homeless, and my family collapsed in 1955, totally collapsed. My middle name was eviction, my family. And my family was evicted from house to house to house. And all the furniture in my house in 1954 was stored up in a storage place on Highland Avenue, and my mother couldn't get a hold of it, and we walked down from Boston Street on a little red wagon, and I was in a little red wagon. I was 5 years old. When we went down to the Arms House at across the street from the Bentley School, the old Shaughnessy School, the old Shaughnessy Hospital, it was called the Arms House. We referred it, my family, as the poorhouse. There was no place to go. And my family, again, disintegrated after that. We went into foster care for 4 years. And to that point, I became a foster parent and adopted kids. So I really see homelessness and transitional homes and affordable homes and low-income homes with the human face. And John, we couldn't ask for a better person to be there, always there. Your patience and your deliberation and your patience, even to be here tonight, time after time. This should have been done routine, long ago. And this idea of a trust fund, wonderful. I wish we had it. I wish my mother had Hawk, and I wish we had trust fund affordable homes, and we want welfare. And here I am, to retire in public service tonight, saying thank you to all the good people that allowed me to be here. John, you're an angel. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council McCarthy, or on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
Adopt by
Wait,
roll call.
but I adopt the recommend, or I accept the recommend, no?
Adopt by roll call vote.
Oh, I gotta, okay. So on the matter of appointing John Boris to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble.
Absolutely, yes.
Counselor Flynn.
Yes.
Counselor Fury.
Absolutely, yes.
Counselor Medor.
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy.
Yes.
Counselor Peterson.
Yes.
Counselor Sargent.
Yes.
Counselor Toriel.
100% yes.
And Counselor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the appointment of John Boris to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board, we have 9 councilors voting, 2 are absent, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask for suspension of rules to allow Mr. Boris to address the city council if he so desires.
Seeing no objection, Don, would you like to address us? Step up.
I get emotional when I'm tired.
Is it past your bedtime?
I want to say thank you so much for having confidence in me and thanking. And I'm just so blessed with so many resources around the city, and just will make it even a little bit easier for me. The need is astronomical, as we all know. So thank you for your confidence, all of you.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to make a motion to move to take up the matter of the committee reports with regards to 289 Derby Street, since there's people here in the audience to talk about that. My only question is, there's also, I'm not sure who's here for appointments and reappointments. I know we took Mr. Borders up, because is anyone else here for appointments and reappointments? Maybe we should do those first.
Okay, so we have
Yep.
one, and then I was also going to ask, because Sicario is here.
For the Youth
and-
Commission?
No, he's not youth commission. There is an order on page 16, so I was going to do appointments and reappointments, go to the order, and then we can do 289.
That's fine.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so then I just need someone to send us back. Councilor Terrell.
So moved.
Okay, so on page 4, appointments and reappointments.
The mayor's appointment of Catherine Miller of 15 Warren Street to the Design Review Board.
Wait, that's not the first one. No.
Oh, I apologize. Mayor's appointment of David Kucharski of 53 Rockaway Ave, Marblehead, to serve as the City of Salem's Director of Traffic and Parking with a term to expire on January 30th, 2019.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask for suspension of the rules.
Council McCarthy asked for a suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection.
I further ask for,
Confirmation by roll call vote.
do we have to confirm by roll call vote? I ask for confirmation by roll call vote. Since Mr. Kucharski is here tonight, and he's allowed everyone to, he's met everyone in the chamber, I believe.
Okay. Under discussion?
On discussion, thank you, Madam President. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Kucharski earlier, and all someone has to do is read his resume and his knowledge and his involvement. And I was next to somebody, one of our colleagues, when they said, "Oh, you came from New York, so you understand traffic," which was a joke, but it's true. I think as you read through his resume, he has a broad-based background in planning and in transit and a whole bunch of. And he's actually done some contract work for the city of Salem previously with regards to a study we did down on the North River Corridor Canal roadway project. So I think with his knowledge of, some basic knowledge of Salem, and the fact that he and his wife and his children have moved back to the Northeast, and he's currently finishing up his job in Lexington. I think it's more than appropriate that we confirm him tonight, because he took the time to be here with us tonight, and we only have one more meeting, and I know that he's finishing up in Lexington at the end of the month, and God knows, come January, we all have a bunch of stuff that I'm sure we want to talk to him about. We won't get into those issues right now, because we're going to be nice to him tonight. But
And that meeting would take too long.
yes. So I would ask for confirmation by roll call vote.
Thank you. Under any further discussion? Seeing none, on Council McCarthy's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
And Counselor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the appointment of David Kucharski to serve as the City of Salem's Director of Traffic and Parking, we have 9 councilors voting, 2 are absent, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I ask for suspension of the rules to allow Mr. Kucharski to address the City Council if he so chooses.
Thank you. Seeing no objection, Mr. Kucharski.
Well, thank you, Councilor, for the kind words and for the opportunity to serve the community. I look forward to working with the council, the mayor, residents, as well as the Traffic and Parking Commission and fellow staff on a number of multimodal transportation options and parking initiatives throughout the city. So thank you again. I'm very excited.
Thank you. Further appointments and reappointments.
Now we have Mayor's appointment of Catherine Miller, 15 Warren Street, to the Design Review Board with a term to expire on March 1st, 2021.
Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for this to be held under the rules.
Councilor Madore moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the following 4 appointments to the Salem Youth Commission: Chantel Alex Fernandez, Luis Matos de los Santos, Diana Alsheg, and Abigail Clark.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be held under the rules.
Councilor Peterson moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's appointment of Jimmy Heiserman of 51 Lafayette Street to the Salem Zoning Board of Appeals with a term to expire on May 1st, 2020.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be held under the rules.
Councilor McCarthy moves that this be held under the rules. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Andrea Cohen and Chris Nagel to the Salem Disabilities Commission with their term to expire November 15th, 2021.
And I would just ask that people note that Andrea Cohen has withdrawn her reappointment as she is moving out of Salem. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this be confirmed by roll call vote.
Councilor Peterson moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Any discussion?
I asked for confirmation of Mr. Nagel of just a couple months ago, I think initially, to the commission, and he's just been fantastic. So I'm really excited to reappoint him for as long as as many times as he would like to be on it. He's a great addition.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on Councilor Peterson's motion for roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the reappointment of Chris Nagel to the Disabilities Commission, we have 9 councilors voting, 2 are absent, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of John Russell of 60 Memorial Drive and Alice Williams of 3 Cleveland Road to the Salem Council on Aging with a term to expire November 15th, 2021.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Council McCarthy moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Any discussion?
2 great individuals that give a lot to the seniors down at the senior center and the community as a whole, and I wholeheartedly move for the reappointment.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, on Council McCarthy's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the reappointments of John Russell and Alice Williams to the Salem Council on Aging, we have 9 councilors voting, 2 are absent, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Gail Kubik of 48 Howard Street to the Conservation Commission with a term to expire on November 15th, 2021.
Actually, she doesn't live on Harvard Street anymore, so that's why Councilor Madore, she is Ward 2 now, because 48 Howard Street Extension is Ward 6. But she's moved since her first appointment, so that's why it's Councilor Madore, so,
Okay.
okay, sorry. Councilor Madore.
So where did she live? Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Councilor Madore moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Under discussion?
Briefly, Gail is very, very qualified to continue to serve this seat, and I fully support her reappointment.
And I'm very jealous that she moved to Ward 2. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Madore's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the reappointment of Gail Kubik to the Conservation Commission, we have 9 councilors voting, 2 are absent, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Janine Liberty of 6 Maple Ave to the Salem Public Art Commission with a term to expire on November 15th, 2020.
Counselor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Counselor Dibble moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Any discussion?
No, straightforward.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Counselor Dibble's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
And Counselor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the reappointment of Janine Liberty to the Public Art Commission, we have 9 counselors voting, 2 are absent, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Further appointments and reappointments.
We have the mayor's reappointment of Dr. John Hayes and Mr. Richard Nye to the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee with a term to expire November 15th, 2021.
Counselor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for confirmation by roll call vote.
Counselor Terrell moves for confirmation by roll call vote. Any discussion?
Not really, Madam President. They've been making wonderful contributions, and I support them continuing.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Counselor Terrell's motion for confirmation by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
Yes.
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
And Counselor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you very much. On the matter of the reappointment of Dr. John Hayes and Mr. Richard Nye to the Sustainability, Energy, and Resiliency Committee, we have 9 counselors voting, 2 are absent, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The matter carries. Thank you. Counselor Terrell?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we go out of order to page 16 and tackle the first item.
Thank you. Okay, Counselor Fury, can you come up? So motions, orders, and resolutions.
Counselor Gerard, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. City of Salem and City Council, November 15th, 2018, ordered that the attached letter from Sicario Wilcock, State President of the National Society of Children of the American Revolution and President of the Judge Samuel Holton chapter in Danvers, to proclaim November 11th at 11 a.m. as a Memorial Day in history, as it marks the 100th anniversary of the day when the armistice was signed to end World War I, be received and filed. And I move that it be received and filed.
Comments? Any comments?
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm really happy that we do have Sicario here in the audience, and I would like to ask for a suspension of the rules to allow him to address us. This is something that I believe that we had talked about, and I think it was even the Consul General from South Korea that spoke of this at the Veterans Day Memorial at the high school, about how important this day is, November 11th, which it has passed, but it was important for us to recognize it, and Sicario has done an incredible amount of work on researching this, and I know that he would love to give a brief presentation, so if there's no objection, I would like to suspend the rules to allow him to address us.
Hearing no objections, Mary, have the honor.
Thank you so much for issuing this proclamation that honors the 100th anniversary of the signing of the armistice that ended World War I on November 11, 1918. My name is Sicario Wilcock, and I am the State President of Massachusetts Society Children of the American Revolution. Our National Society Children of the American Revolution, also called the CAR for short, was founded in 1895 by DAR member Harriet Lathrop. It is the nation's oldest and largest patriotic youth organization with more than 9,000 members. Its headquarters is located in Washington, D.C. at the DAR building. In brief, CAR promotes patriotism, mentoring, public speaking, leadership, and love of American history. Membership is open to any boy or girl from birth to 22 who is directly descended from a man or woman who rendered service to the colonies during the American Revolution. Presidents at the national, state, and local levels must have a specific approved project each year. My Massachusetts State President's project is called A Flight to Remember, in which I have decided to raise funds and support all veterans through the Honor Flight New England program, which is a nonprofit organization dedicated to honoring America's most senior veterans. by flying our heroes to Washington, D.C. to visit and reflect at their memorial at no cost to the veteran. So far, there have been 54 flights, and it costs $600 to send each veteran. As a matter of fact, CAR and DAR members went to Manchester Airport in September and Logan Airport in October to honor and thank the veterans as they boarded flights to Washington, D.C. It was a really memorable and moving experience. Also, I said part of our CAR mission is to develop an awareness and appreciation of American history. This month of November is really special for Americans and many others throughout the world. On November 11th, we celebrated Veterans Day. This year marked the 100th anniversary of the end to World War I, when Germany had to sign a truce that ended the war on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, in other words, at 11 a.m. on the 11th of November, 1918. Until 1954, the holiday was called Armistice Day in the United States, but in that year, Congress renamed it Veterans Day to honor not only the soldiers that died in the World War I, but also to recognize all veterans. As part of recognizing this memorable event, I have asked my city council here in Salem to write a proclamation recognizing this 100th anniversary. Again, I would like to thank the council for honoring this request and inviting me to speak this evening.
If I can add one more thing, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Sicario's great-grandfather was George Bates? Is that right? Great. Your grandfather, yes, was George Bates, who the Bates School is named for, Mayor George Bates. So he follows in a long history of public servants. And so thank you so much for coming in tonight and for issuing the proclamation.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that take one last matter out of order before we go back to the regular agenda on page 21. Committee reports, please.
Councilor McCarthy asks that we go out of order to committee reports, page 21.
20.
20?
20.
20.
There it is.
The top of page 20. Committee reports, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, October 18, 2018. The Committee on Ordinance, License, and Legal Affairs, Co-Posted Committee of the Whole, to whom is referred the matter of declaring Lot 2 of 289 Derby Street as surplus and further conveying Lot 2 to the Salem Redevelopment Authority has considered, for the consideration of $10, has considered said matter and recommend that the matter be was pulled out of committee favorably and for a favorable recommendation to the full council.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? None carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
Thank you, Madam President. At the last meeting, there was this clerical error that didn't allow this matter to be taken up. That's why I asked to take it out of order now, because that's why some people are here. I also, at some point, will ask to suspend the rules to allow the mayor to, I know the mayor sent us an email yesterday relative to this, and to just let her briefly discuss that. I cannot speak, I've spoken before about this, and I could go on at length about this. I was, as someone, I think it was almost 2 years ago, said it was the most engaged I've seen Bob in a long time, is when he was arguing for people to understand about the 289, the ability and the opportunity to purchase land along water and to turn it into a vibrant space for everyone to enjoy don't happen every day, and they don't happen often. And so for the city to have the first refusal in order to buy this property, I thought was an immense opportunity to allow public access to that space and to enhance that area of downtown. Part of those early on discussions over a year ago involved conceptual revitalization of the park in the area. They also talked about how to engage the building next door potentially, and to open that up and turn those storefronts, as Mr. Clark testified earlier tonight. I think that, some people have said that they were, kind of, why the SRA? Why not? I mean, when you look at the SRA and what they've done over the course of the years, I mean, no one batted an eyelash when we turned over the courthouses to the SRA. No one batted an eyelash when we turned over the old Salem Police Station down on Charter Street to the SRA for redevelopment opportunities. The SRA is wholeheartedly part of this city, but by not being a city, by being a board in the city and not being an entity in the city, it gives them more flexibility, and they are the group that, with the DRB, that is going to work to design. This parcel is right in the middle of the, renewal area. This couldn't be a better, and we're talking about a 20-foot strip. We're still gonna maintain a park, there's still gonna be public access, and I understand the arguments of, we just spent money for this, but as the mayor will tell us, whatever we're gonna convey this to the SRA for $10, whatever either long-term lease agreement is, or whatever the solution is to this, to get this done, is going to be at full value. We've got an appraisal. It's going to come, I mean, some people were throwing around numbers of $200-something thousand. It came back, I believe, at $320. So, I mean, that's what's going to happen. It's not some corporate giveaway, or it's not anything that this is the city and this body in the administration being able to partner with the the SRA in order to allow them to do their work, because they have more flexibility than the city does, in order them to do what our envision was and what the envision in this room was over a year ago, to revitalize that spot. I could go on at length. I've probably spoken too much. I would wholeheartedly ask everyone's support for this, because I mean, it's close to being done. We're running into some glitches. I mean, the weather, I can't see out the window tonight. It looks like it's supposed to snow. And the one last aspect of finishing part of the park is going to be the decorative concrete, which we're probably going to look to wait till the spring, only unless we have a big, long snap of weather. But we're looking to get it substantially completed, and this is the next part of that. And I think it's very important that we know what the direction is moving forward as we enter into the spring, so we won't lose any more time on that. So I would wholeheartedly ask every member of this body to support this, because I think the group that purchased this was very similar to the group that's in here now, and I think it's very important to understand what the thoughts were from that city council to this one, and I hope that I can convey that and have everyone understand that it is important. I think it's important to revitalize that spot, and just, not turn it into, we stopped it from being something else. But by doing that, we opened up a space, and we're gonna open up an opportunity that doesn't happen very often, to have access to the water, and especially in that section. So I'll let anyone else speak, but if anyone wants to hear the mayor first, I'd move to waive the rules and allow the mayor to address us briefly about this subject.
Thank you. Councilor Fury.
If I may piggyback, I strongly agree with Councilor McCarthy. I'm the City Council representative of the Salem Renewal Authority. I've enjoyed being a part of it. Most cities and towns give their right arm to what's happening in Salem, and the SRA is just a beautiful instrument, a catalyst for change, an opportunity. All professional people. Councilman Maduro was on it previously, and I think hope she should serve next year as the City Council liaison to that board. So I think sincerely, a park is a treasure to the future generations of Salem. It's a gift. And then I think we as a City Council have to think of the future. The Clark family has a legacy of experience, expertise in the business field. They have the Midas touch. If anybody can do it, they can do it. Sincerely. We need to look at the future, a year or two from now, what's going on now, the old Jack's Garage, PBS Museum parking there, some homeless people living in the back and so on. Maybe a year or two from now, we'll see a vibrant restaurant. People dining outside, inside, all year round. Park, 365 days, themes, indoors, outdoors, so on. The pizza place next door, a bowling alley next door. Do we need another condominium complex? Do we need another concrete jungle? No. We as a City Council have to look at the future and come to an agreement that we need a park there. It was an investment, and the park is really a gift, and better than the stock market, better investment to the future generations than the concrete jungle we could go for. So I concur wholeheartedly with Councilor McCarthy, and I hope it's unanimous that we look forward to this development by the Clark family. And I'm very excited by the mayor having the opportunity having the vision to make this a park. And thank you very much, Mayor, for being here, and thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I was on the council when we voted to purchase this property, and I was very much in support of this. In fact, I had the privilege of some 32 years ago reading about the Nathaniel Bowditch plan, a park that was abutting that property that went around the corner of the old Sumner's Paint Building on the corner of Lafayette and Derby, and how it would open up access to the waterfront and link the downtown to the waterfront. It just went on and on. This plan was wonderful, and I shared it with the entire council back then. I apologize, the 4 new members did not get that. But you 4 would love reading that. And to take those ideas and put them onto this lot that the mayor is working on right now, and this is a good thing for Salem. There was a lot of opposition to this, but I am absolutely in favor of what's happening here, especially if we can get down to the waterfront. And I think the plans are progressing that way pretty fast. So this is a good thing, and I will be voting in support of this tonight. I look forward to seeing the Clarks open up that wall as like Lappin Park, diagonally across from us, is open, and the restaurants there spill out. Activity is happening in that area, and hopefully we do the same thing to the entire facade, and things happen and spill out there as well. So this is a good thing, Madam President. I will be voting in support of this.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I will agree with basically, other than not having shared any information from 32 years ago, I agree with everything that my colleague from Ward 7 just said about this. You look at Lappin Park right across the street for a wonderful example of what happens when you take a city park and you open it up to the buildings around there, and when you attract more people to use it. It's an incredibly popular destination. It has people using it pretty much every month out of the year. And that's something that's a real asset to the community. This park that we chose to build, that the City Council voted to build in 2016, that park is also a positive in connecting the waterfront, in helping to really kind of clean up that area, and in giving public water, public access to the water. That's always something, as my colleague from Ward 1 said, that's always something you want to be able to give to your community. In the case of this, using the SRA as the vehicle to manage the relationship of the city and this park space to the building owner next door, and to be able to work with the building owner to plan for entrances, plan for things like seating areas and all that, and utilize the space better and draw more people into it, that's a huge positive. And then the revenue that we can get off that through the SRA is something that we can then devote to the upkeep and maintenance of that park and the programming at that park, and draw still more people in to use it. So it's really, in a case like this, it's kind of a virtuous circle where the work that's done in that park, the use of that park is going to encourage still more use of that park, and the revenues and the success of that business and the increased property taxes that business with that building with higher value is now worth generates revenue for the city. Any lease of space in that strip to the to the Clark family for the use is also revenue that's going to take care of that's going to help with this park maintenance, and it's going to make the waterfront a more attractive, safer place for people, and it's going to it shines a light on it, and it's going to help us complete that waterfront. And I know our mayor has is constantly discusses the idea. Her pet project is to have a water fire there on South River, and it's a small space for a lot of fire, but something like that is a wonderful idea, and it's the kind of program that you can do that's going to just connect the city to the water even better. And right now, a lot of our water, between the power plant, the sewage plant, private development, there's a lot of our waterfront that's closed off, and this opens up more of it. It can't be anything but positive there.
Thank you. Councilman Dore.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to speak to the competency of the SRA. This is an opportunity that we cannot give up. The SRA has developed and redeveloped so many of our historic properties in the city. Many of them are considered the standards of historic adaptive reuse throughout the country. And not only that, their expertise have they have a really strong record of activating our public spaces, Lapin Park being one of them. Just look at how much activity happens in Lapin Park. All the people taking pictures, people sitting outdoors, that all has to go through the SRA. And they also have so much to provide in terms of local knowledge, because everyone who serves on the SRA and DRB are residents. And if we do not leverage their expertise with this piece, if we hand it off to another developer, we will not really have that opportunity of review. And I think this is the best of both worlds, where we have the flexibility to activate that space, which will open up other uses, public uses along the walkway, and not be tied down by private interests completely. So I think it's really important to involve the SRA, and we, like my colleague from Ward 1 was saying, we don't really bat an eye when we give them the courthouses, or even right now, 5 Broad Street is going under their review, because we have full confidence in their ability to do a good job. So I think we need to do this so that we have people who are interested in local progress to oversee the progress of this very small parcel. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councilor Fury, will you come up for a second?
Councilor Giroux, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I, too, want to echo my support for this, that something that I really want to stress to people is that when we had our joint meeting with the SRA and we discussed the history, I believe it was it Bill Tinty or Bill Quinn?
Yes.
Okay, I always confuse the bills, and I apologize to both of them for confusing them. But when Bill Tinty talked about the history of the SRA and how prior to the 60s it was run by bankers who were interested in building, and then there was a change in leadership, and then there was a change in the SRA, and so we've had an SRA that, using one of your euphemisms, that they've been our guardian angels, the wind beneath our wings, because they have been the ones who have been really looking out for us. And so when we as a city said, let's do something that's not just putting another building, that's blocking, that's privatizing access to the water, and let's also have this little strip that's given to or conveyed to the SRA and have them manage it and figure out how to really activate it. Because you know what ends up, a lot of people are concerned about, some rowdy folks that may come over and cause issues in a park. But do you know what I found everywhere that I've lived? When I've lived in Somerville, in New York, in Oregon, everywhere, and in Salem, that parks are safer when people are utilizing them and when they're activated. And if we can do something that's going to support the park, that's going to support Salem, and have this as an active space that then can encourage people to utilize this strip for a restaurant or something, then we are really doing right by the city of Salem. So I strongly, strongly encourage our colleagues to support this, these 2 orders. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further? Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I won't be able to support this, and I feel I should explain why. As I was opposed to buying this for the price. I was very much in favor of buying this land, but for no more than $500,000 around what it was being taxed for. And I was glad to see the city get it, but I feel like we paid too much for it. And I believe the SRA does a great job in restoring and redoing buildings. It's not that often we give them parkland. Places like Lapham Park were former buildings that burnt down during a past history, and the land was there from the building, and I understand that. But for the price we paid for this, it just seemed, I would rather see it stay right now with the city as a park, and maybe something else going forward. But right now, it just seems too soon for the price we paid for it to, in essence, be transferring some of the land to an abutter through the SRA for use and all that. It seems like too soon to be doing that, so I won't be able to support it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further? Okay. Since Council McCarthy asked to suspend the rules to allow the mayor to address us, Mayor, would you like to Take a moment.
Don't have much to add. I think councilors really captured it. I do hope it's something that can move forward. I know there were some councilors who didn't support the acquisition of this, but I'm happy to say that we're moving forward with leveraging over $1 million in grant assistance. So the construction activity, the waterfront connection, the bulk of those are all coming from state grants that we were able to obtain. I think that speaks to, having livable, great public spaces in a city like ours really matters, not just to those of us who live here, but to folks outside who are funding these initiatives. It's important that this project move tonight, if possible, so that we can begin the process with the SRA. They are definitely the right group to do this. They have to approve any of the external improvements, anything that can be seen from the public on the abutting buildings. It would be great to do that in congruence with how we're going to use the park. I echo everyone's comments. We are not giving anything away, as Mr. Clark mentioned earlier as well during his public testimony. There is an expectation there will be a payment for it, and I think it'll be great public space. So we do need 8 votes, so I want to stress that, and so it's important if you're not going to support it, then you let us know. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I guess we have, am I reading this correctly, Madam City Clerk, that we have 2 roll call votes? One is to declare it surplus, and that's a simple majority. And then we have a conveyance of land, and that requires 2/3 vote, supermajority. Both are roll call votes. Okay, so with no further discussion, then on the matter of declaring surplus, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
No.
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
And Counselor Gerard?
Yes. On the matter of declaring Lot 2 of 289 Derby Street as surplus, we have 9 councilors voting, 2 are absent, 8 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries. Okay, now on the second roll call vote. Now, just for clarification, Madam City Clerk, that if this does not pass, then what happens? We can't bring it up again for a year?
No, next year.
Till next year. So not until our first meeting in January.
That's correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So did we have nobody needed any further discussion? Everyone's ready to vote? Okay. On the matter of the conveyance of land at 289 Derby Street, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Counselor Dibble?
Yes.
Counselor Flynn?
Yes.
Counselor Fury?
Yes.
Counselor Madore?
Yes.
Counselor McCarthy?
Yes.
Counselor Peterson?
Yes.
Counselor Sargent?
No.
Counselor Torrio?
Yes.
And Counselor Gerard?
Yes. On the matter of the conveyance of Lot 2 of 289 Derby Street to the SRA for $10. We have 9 councilors voting, 2 are absent. We have 9, I'm sorry, this is 8 in the affirmative? Correct?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative. The matter carries. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. For immediate consideration, the hopes does not prevail.
Council McCarthy asks for immediate reconsideration. The hopes it does not prevail. All those in favor? All those opposed? Opposed. Matter does not carry.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to return to the regular portion of the meeting, wherever it is.
I think we're on page 7.
I think we're, yeah, I was going to say 7 or 8, but
Good guess. Good thing we have you here. Okay. Communications from the mayor.
We have an order in the sum of $2,677,269 to be appropriated from general fund balance reserved for free cash to the following special revenue fund: stabilization fund, capital improvement fund, and other post-employee benefits fund.
Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrio moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Briefly, Madam President. So we got our free cash certified for this year. The total amount is $5,949,483. That is We have an outstanding policy that's based on collections and expenditures and all the rest, and the certification at the end of the fiscal year. So based on that certification, we have an outstanding policy where we take approximately 45% of that and we sock it away to take care of some of our other structural issues. So this is by standard policy. We put 20% of it in our stabilization fund, the rainy day fund, to bring that up further. We put another 20% in our capital improvement fund, so we have the money there to tap to do major projects, acquisitions, upgrades, things like that that the city needs. And then we put some of this into our pension funds to help resolve long-term shortages there. And then the subsequent order after this is to take some more of that free cash and put it into our retirement stabilization fund for the retirement buybacks that I'm processing every single time we sit here. So this is a standard housekeeping procedure where we throw around big sums of money and we recognize all that revenue and we turn it into our rainy day fund and such.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will also like to point out that we are one of the few municipalities that does actually have rainy day funds, so we're very fortunate that we have these. So on that note, on Councilor Terriel's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order in the sum of $500,000 is hereby appropriate from general fund balance reserved for free cash to the retirement stabilization fund.
Councilor Terriel.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terriel moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terriel.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terriel moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Briefly, this is to take some of that free cash and put it into our retirement stabilization fund so that when we have all the longtime employees who are leaving under our contracts and rules, we can afford to pay out their retirements and sick days and all the rest.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terriel's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order in the sum of $202,000 to be appropriated within the capital outlay equipment fund to be expended for a HVAC project at the Salem Public Library.
Councilor Terriel.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terriel moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terriel.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terriel moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This one, briefly, this is for the city taking on. We've been able to do a lot of our library renovation through grants and CPA funding, and they've come a long ways in repairing and updating the library. The HVAC system is the last thing kind of left on the pile, and that is something that is not covered by CPA or by any of the current state programs. So the library has asked us to cover that. They are, just as a footnote, this is the amount to cover the entire service work and rebuilding that's required. However, the Library Board of Trustees is looking at some other funding sources that they may be able to bring in that will reduce this number. If that's the case and we're not expending this full amount, then anything's left will return back into our free cash.
Thank you. Any further discussion, Councilor
Madam
Fury?
President, we're so lucky to have the Salem Public Library. It's a jewel to the whole city of Salem. The Bertram Mansion, the history of the Bertram Mansion, the Bertram Field, the Bertram family, Bertram Home on the Common for senior citizens. And this is just an investment to the future. Like a park, a library is an investment to the future. And it's a beautiful opportunity and privilege to work at the Salem Public Library when I was in high school and college. And it's one of the busiest places. Limited parking, absolute stunning facility. The house beautiful, historic beautiful facility with the fountain, and people use it all year round. It's a gift to the generations, and it's a legacy to the future generations. And I'm glad we're investing in future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion, Councilor Madore?
Thank you, Madam President. Just through you to my colleague from Ward 5, mentioning that they're considering leveraging other sources of funding. I'm just curious what those are.
No, sorry. They're not looking at. It's not leveraging other funds. They're looking at potentially a couple of other programs that will help them offset some of that. And if that's the case, then that money would be spent instead of some of the city funds. So they're not sure what and if that might work out to be. But they're trying to. They have the contract in and bid, so they're trying to get the work underway. And as part of that, if they're able to get some of that funding from outside, then they won't need the full amount if that's the case.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $100,000 is hereby appropriated within capital outlay equipment to be expended for replacement of the 2 elevators in the Museum Place parking garage.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, this is a matter that we took in and looked at earlier in this year. The project was, we approved some funding for that when it did go out to bid. And the bidder came back with their bid. They took a deeper look into the system, into the garage, and they found a bunch of electrical work that was part of this that was above and beyond what had originally been estimated as part of the situation. The bid, as a result, came in this much higher than, the final bid came in this much higher to the RFP than we had initially planned for. We have funding already allocated for that. They're hoping to get this work now done during the winter season when there is substantially less use of the garage, because we couldn't get it done and through in time to not impact the September and October crowds. So they want to get this underway. We've been waiting for a while. We do have a accepted bid on it, but because of all the additional electrical work that needs to go, that it wound up going over, and there was only one place that could do it at that point.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communication from the mayor.
We have the sum of $50,000 is hereby appropriate from the receipts reserved Witch House to the Pioneer Village Contracted Services.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Very briefly on this one, this is from taking some of the funds that we take in revenue in the Witch House, and they're looking at using this to do some study work to evaluate whether or not it will make sense to do what has been discussed as a possibility for a few years now, the possibility of taking Camp Nomke, which is down in the Willows, and Pioneer Village, which is over at Forest River, and potentially switching the 2 locations, moving Pioneer Village down to the waterfront location, bringing Camp Nomke into Forest River, where there's going to be more facilities, bathroom facilities, a new pool going in, and in the next couple of years, and all the like. So it's something that it could potentially benefit both facilities. It could potentially benefit both neighborhoods. And it may or may not make financial sense in the long term to work that out with the logistics, but we've had some meetings on it. We've had representatives from the Y, from Rec Department, from some of our historic groups, and so far the reaction to it has been mostly positive out of those, as it's got the potential to really put a more, as the mayor has said many a time about this, it's Pioneer Village is a real gem that was built approximately back in the 1930s as a commemoration, and it wound up not, it was neglected for many years. We've done a wonderful job of restoring it, but still, it's in the middle of a neighborhood, and it's right next to a baseball field, and it's because of that, it just doesn't get the foot traffic, it doesn't get the car visitors, it doesn't get the tour buses, and the trolleys going by it, and they can't really handle that kind of volume in that neighborhood anyway. So between that and the possible better use facilities, it's a really intriguing idea. So this is to help see if it'll work, and hopefully it will.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $45,000 is hereby transferred from the Parking Department full-time salary account to the Parking Department Contracted Services account.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Well, we just hired a new director of traffic and parking. We didn't have one on staff to pay for roughly the last 6 months, actually the last 8 months since Matt left back in March. And since then, Nick has been doing a wonderful job as the acting director. He's going on a leave of absence now that we've just hired a director earlier in the evening. And so this is to take some of that money that we have saved by not having Matt here during all that time and have that available to bring in some help for, some assistance, help him get going, help him take care of some of the issues that we have, and do that while Nick is on his leave.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. So, just a question. So this is being used to hire additional staff or to supplement Mr. Kucharski's compensation?
Councilor Terrell and Councilor Peterson.
It's being allocated from salaries to services to take the money we saved on, some of the money we saved on Matt over the last 8 months, and potentially bring in temporary help to help them out with things, help David out with things while he gets stuff going and catches up, because Nick is going out on leave now.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to add, my understanding of this is that it's also, the gentleman we just hired tonight is not starting right away. No. So there's a gap of time where we really do need some help. So I think part of this is to address that gap as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the sum of $34,304 be approved within the Retirement Stabilization Fund Vacation Sick Leave Buyback to be expended for the fiscal year 19 contractual buyback of Edward Morse from the School Department.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for suspension of the rules.
Councilor Terrell moves for suspension of the rules. Seeing no objection, Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I also move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
There goes $34,304. That's $500,000 just now.
For good reason. For good reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But so that's why we allocate that much money for those sort of things when it seems like a big number. But I wish Mr. Morse the best in his retirement, and thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept the donation from Mack Park Neighborhood Association totaling $6,822 to be deposited into the Police K-9 Fund.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. Actually, this doesn't require a suspension of the rules, and so I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, as always, the Mack Park Neighborhood Association, who raised most of the money that allowed us to establish our K-9 fund, our K-9 officers, and have been working tirelessly to hold fundraisers and sell merchandise and all that to help us support this. And they keep on giving to the police, and that's wonderful of them. Thank you very much.
We're lucky to have them. Councilor Fury.
As you know, Rosemary O'Connor's not here tonight. They normally she's sitting in that chair speaking tonight there. But she is an angel to the police department. She's an angel to Ward 6 in the Mack Park Association meetings. And this goes right directly to the canine dogs and what we had over the Halloween and all year round. They're invaluable resources. In fact, Councilor Sargent had a moment of silence for one of the dogs that passed away. That's how highly we respect them. The City Council had a moment of silence for a dog. You know how invaluable they are to the police department to go where police officers can't go. We wouldn't want to go routine. So Rosemary not being here, we miss her not being here today, but thank her and the Mack Park Association that you are so active in, Madam President. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. And just a small token of how important our neighborhoods and our neighborhood associations are. This began at a Mack Park Neighborhood Association meeting with a simple question to the police as to why they didn't have a canine unit. And they said that they didn't have the funds for it. So Rosemary O'Connor and Patrick Foley and the rest of the group got together and started doing fundraising to raise money for one canine dog. They raised enough to buy 3. And they committed themselves to holding the city harmless from any pay for every year afterwards to raise enough money to pay for every shot, food, everything the dogs need, which is so unusual, but so much like Salem. So, thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order to accept the donation from Footprint from Derby Street Mile Race totaling $3,670.17.
Councilor Terrell.
Into the Park and Rec Fund.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. This is, the Footprint Power has been a sponsor of the Derby Mile event that Salem Parks and Recreation puts on. And this has been money that, this has been a very good thing for the Parks and Rec Department. They use this to help fund programs and all sorts of activities. And, this is a fairly, significant contribution out of this, along with the money that they raise from just holding the event too. So this is a very nice donation on their part, and I thank them.
This is something that Councilor McCarthy and I will volunteer for, and I have run before, and it's really a great, great event. There were kids that came out this year that had never run before and had never run a race, and they were truly excited to get their medals, and everyone was excited to get their shirts. So it really is a great event, and so thank you again to Footprint.
I was saying to the authority that I know you do that completely of your own free will. I'm not so sure that the Ward 1 Council has a choice in the matter, but I'm sure it's appreciated.
Thank you.
Further communications from the mayor.
But we didn't vote on it yet.
Oh, I'm sorry, we didn't? Oh, I'm so sorry. Thank you. So on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
So this is the P's for fees. Order that upon payment unpaid parking fine, there be a donation of 2 non-perishable items or canned goods to be donated to local food pantries. And the collector shall waive from December 1st to December 20th up to $30 in late fees.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. As has already been mentioned in the this is the famous Peace for Fees program that we do every year, and it's a chance if you have a ticket and you've been, shall we say, absent-minded in paying it. This is a chance to get good and get good with the city, pay your parking fine, and without having to pay the surcharges and late fees that normally would be assessed to you in exchange for the donation of 2 non-perishable items of canned goods to be donated to food pantries. The one thing, as always, to caution people who are looking to take advantage of this, if the Registry of Motor Vehicles has been notified of this, which there's a grace period of quite a few months, but I'm not sure how long it is before it's handed over to the Registry of Motor Vehicles, then this does not apply to you, but most people don't go that long. They just forget to pay it for a couple of months. And so this is a chance to get good and help out our food pantries.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the city council hereby authorizes free parking in municipal garages, lots, and meters on November 23rd and November 24th, 2018 in support of Small Business Saturday.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. I also encourage everybody to shop locally after Thanksgiving. When you, when you get up on Black Friday, don't waste your time. You're going to be in pretty much a trip to Fancoma at that point. So don't get up early to go to the big box stores out of town. Get up at a normal hour and drive downtown and shop at some of our merchants because the parking's free.
Thank you. And I think that's also the same weekend. That's the holiday fair at Old Town Hall.
Yes. Actually, that's this weekend. Or the first one is this weekend, the winter market.
Okay, great. So on Councilor Terrell's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an order that the city purchasing agent is hereby authorized to solicit bids and lease with the approval of the mayor no more than 1/3 of the city-owned lot at 297 Bridge Street for the period of November 23rd through and including December 24th, 2018 for the purposes of selling Christmas trees, wreaths, and similar holiday items.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption.
Councilor Terrell moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, I hope this is because we've had a business that just about all of you in this room have bought your Christmas trees from for generations now. They started in 1971, Ludwig's Trees. They come down from Maine and they bring in trees every year, and people in Salem get them, and they've generally been at one or more places on Canal Street over the years. Well, because of construction, their traditional home that's been by the last decade or so by the California Olive Oil Company is no longer available to work from. So, because they're building now a new project there. So I worked with Ludwig's, and I worked with the city to try and identify other locations. We approached some private landowners and that weren't able to accommodate them. And finally, in some discussions with the mayor about a week ago, when we had realized we had no place else to put them, the mayor suggested, well, maybe we can put them onto the Universal Steel lot. There's a power hookup, there's, it's a big lot, it's never full, and it's only for a couple of weeks where they come in, they bring their trailer, they sell the trees that everybody buys, and then they go home. So as a result, this is before you. So it would be for up to a third of the lot. They're actually, I've spoken to the people at Ludwig's, and they probably will not have quite as long a season here this year because of issues. The founder of the company passed away roughly a year ago. His son Burton is now operating it, and so they are, they're regrouping with some of their tree sourcing and growing, and so they expect to be back. And we're hoping to find a long-term solution for them in the city as well. But for this year, so that we can keep this tradition alive, this was the idea we came up with. And by passing this, we can then work through the purchasing department to do this right and have them pay whatever nominal fee is to use the space and be able to continue supplying trees, because I buy mine there. So,
Thank you. Councilor Fury.
Madam President, this is an exciting idea, a very well thought out, a good idea by the mayor and Councilor Toriel to keep a family-run operation in business. The city of Salem made a major investment into this area to clean up this area, over $1 million. Every single resident of Salem made that possible, to clean that site up, that whole area up. It doesn't belong to one neighborhood. It belongs to the entire city of Salem. And the Christmas trees being sold is a reflection, our flag, our symbol, the city of peace, in season of peace, for better opportunity to use this facility. Anybody going past this facility 24/7, 365 days a year, it's underutilized. It does not belong to one neighborhood. I'm very disappointed. See a front page headline that one neighborhood disagrees. We're all a city of neighborhoods. We should be contributing to the city of Salem. This is a contribution to a family-run business. It's a no-brainer. Councilor O'Leary would say, your relative, your uncle, Maureen, what world are they in? What planet are they in? Who disagree with having Christmas trees on a lot that belongs to the city of Salem, entirely, not one neighborhood. I believe in neighborhoods having their concerns and having their oppositions and so on. It's a healthy discussion and dialogue. But this is a no-brainer. It's a win-win for the city of Salem. For the Christmas season, as we enter Thanksgiving, Christmas trees belong, the real live ones that the Ludlow family is very encouraging that tradition to go. Wow. Thank you much, Councilor Turio, the mayor, for supporting this. And I'm disappointed, very disappointed, in this one neighborhood that wants to be like a sore thumb to cover ideas, unique ideas, make City of Salem city of peace in the season of peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
Nobody else going to speak. It's I have been buying my trees here for many, many years. A very nice family, but in this case here, I have to keep it to my as far as how we look at zoning. This lot has been a difficult lot. We all know that. It was Universal Steel for many, many years. Zoned R2, so it was grandfathered in the neighborhood. So the neighbors waited for years and years for that to go away. And after it was not used for Universal Steel for over a year, I think maybe 2 at the most, the grandfather goes away. So it's back to being R2 zoned. And we have so much non-conforming zoning in the city that it can be difficult. And the term at the Board of Appeals that gets used is not substantially less detrimental when there's a special permit. So if this was the high school, if this was any other city-run place, the Veterans Association, I think we would be plenty fine doing this. But if we approve this, I believe that the tree company is going to have to go for a special permit before the Board of Appeals, because while this lawsuit is in place and the appeal is in place, the land is still zoned R2. So it would be a business use by a private entity on an R2 piece of property. That's what we have to look at. I mean, we all love Christmas and Santa Claus and those kind of things, and we all want to find a place for this business to operate. But if they should get a special permit, think of the abutters that waited so long to have Universal Steel leave there. Now, somewhere down the line, somebody comes up with another use for it, and they say, based on the special permit, the grandfather's gone away, it's now had a business use again, and this next business is not substantially less detrimental. It's similar to the corner house that turns into a hairdresser's. You got a special permit. Well, it doesn't go away when the hairdresser leaves. Now somebody comes along and wants to put a corner store there, with might be more traffic, more use, more impact on the neighborhood. The special permit can be changed to something else through the Board of Appeals. So that's what they're worried about opening themselves up to. And that's what happens at the Board of Appeals. Once you allow one business use in, you're back to being grandfathered for the next business use in another one. And that's the worry of the neighborhood and the abutters. They're not against Christmas, not against trees. If this was the high school band doing it, they would be there with bells on. Most of the people in there would buy their trees from this place also. So I think we can find them someplace around the city besides this where there's not this kind of issue with it. And, so I just wanted to put that whole process through there, what we see it before the Board of Appeals all the time. So thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councillor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. Those are interesting comments by the at-large council just now. It's Christmas trees. I think it's a good thing. It's a very festive neighborhood there, River Street, with the Halloween activities that they do, the large pumpkin, on and on. My concern is on the liability on the property. So I'd like to recommend that let me see what the liability might be. I just want to make sure that if we allow this to happen, that there's no liability coming back to the city of Salem to allow a private entity to go onto the property to sell the trees. With that, I want to make sure that we're not in violation of the AUL agreement that speaks to what we can and cannot do on this property. We can never put residents on there. It can never be a school. It can never be a nursery school, daycare. There's a lot of things that we cannot do on here. There's also one of the emails I read talked about that there's a limit of 14 or 16 hours that a person can stay on the property. This just needs to be clarified. So I ask, and I'm fully in support of them selling trees there. I buy my tree there maybe every other year. I bounce around a little bit from Canal Street. But I'd like to offer a friendly amendment to this, that we simply make, if we're going to vote in favor of this, that we make a contingent upon the city solicitor's opinion that the city of Salem is not open up to liability nor in violation of the AUL agreement that speaks to the contamination underneath the parking lot. That way there, if we are in violation of the AUL, we should not let anybody sell trees on there. But if we're not, I'll go buy my tree there. Thank you.
So it's contingent upon a legal opinion by the city solicitor?
I'm sorry, Madam President, I'll repeat that for you.
Thank you.
Contingent on city solicitor's opinion that the city of Salem is not opened up to liability nor in violation of the AUL agreement. That's the federal agreement, and the state and the federal agreement paid for most of the remediation on the property. And we signed off on that agreement. I had phoned the city solicitor, so you all know I phoned the city solicitor to find out if we were potentially in problem with that. And the solicitor hadn't had a chance to review it as of 2 minutes before tonight's meeting. But she did email me the AUL and a couple other documents. I did not read them in 1 minute's time before this meeting, so I apologize. It's only about 20 pages long or whatever is in here, I don't know. But it's a simple, actually, the city solicitor recommended this contingent that hopefully most of the councils will go along with and that we're protected on it. So this is not the exact words, but she basically said what I've read.
Thank you.
Okay.
I'm fine with that, and I'll take that as
Councilor
a friendly amendment that way, and that'll be...
So you're seconding it?
Yeah, I'm accepting as a friendly amendment
Great.
to the order, so, but besides, as that will work out when the purchasing department puts the language together for it.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay, so we vote on the amendment first, and so I just want to make sure that I'm saying it correctly, that the amendment is contingent upon a legal opinion by the city solicitor that the city of Salem not be held liable and not be in violation of the AUL, the activity use limitations on the property. So on Councilor Dibble's amendment, seconded by Councilor Turiel, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Okay, so on adoption of the recommendation as amended, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to solid waste management.
You're waiving the reading, correct?
You don't want to read that? No, I don't blame you.
Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this, I'd love to move for first adoption because I think I've read through this a couple of times. I think a lot of it in here makes sense, and it's due to, there's a lot of questions when people put things out to the curb and not really understanding what the rules are. But I think that we should, due diligence, have the committee just run through it real quick and refer it back, hopefully by the next meeting. So I would move this better referred to the Committee on License or Legal Affairs, co-posted.
Co-posted. Okay. Seeing no further discussion on Council McCarthy's motion that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the committee as a whole. All those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. Councilor Turiel, are you recusing? Huh? Okay. Communication from the mayor. Further communications from the mayor.
We have an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to parking.
Council McCarthy.
Don't want to read that one either? Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, this came up with discussions about, earlier this year, there was an order brought in relative to extending the meter time until 8 o'clock and on Sundays, and that didn't really get a lot of traction, but what did receive some ideas was the fact that, you know, Salem is a vibrant community, and it's not just Monday through Friday, and we're finding that Sundays, and with respect to the, you know, the residents that, you know, come downtown and utilize some of the churches downtown, and obviously a lot of those services are prior to noon, and how we could, A, accommodate this residents, at the same time, you know, be able to, you know, take in some parking revenue from people who are coming from outside. And with the new technology that we have with the kiosks, and you're able to enter in your license plate, and I can tell right away if you register your car in the city of Salem and you pay your excise tax in the city of Salem, your license plate's registered with the city, bang, you put it in and you don't have to pay. So there it is. So you're not going to burden any resident, anybody from anywhere in the city of Salem whose car's registered in Salem can come and park for free. And so
On Sundays.
on Sundays. Thank you. I almost thought anything. This came up during one of the committee meetings when we were talking about it, and I think that, so I would, if I don't see any objection, I wouldn't mind passing it tonight because it came up in committee when we were talking about it. But if there is some if there's someone wants some more information about it, I have no problem referring to committee either way. So if someone, show of hands, if someone wants to send it to committee, I will. If someone wants the first passage, I mean, we talked about this, and I think it doesn't, the way it's written and it's been presented and the way it'll be implemented, it won't affect directly any city of Salem resident in those kiosk spots. And it's only pertains to those lots, so I think it's a great opportunity. But once again, if anyone has any questions, I have no problem bringing it to committee and having a meeting and then referring it back, so.
Great.
I'll leave it to the will of the body.
Thank you.
No, well, you're looking at me.
Are you-
Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Sturgeon.
Thank you, man. I don't mind voting on it tonight, but I'll just, voice a quick objection. I mean, Sundays is a special day. I mean, a lot of us work and do different things on Sunday. It used to be more of a family day. But I know when I go into Boston, say, a lot of times if I'm looking for a Red Sox ticket, I look for a Sunday because I can sneak in there early and park in front of Fenway Park at a parking meter for free. And that, so Sundays, it's difficult for me to charge people, even if they're out of town, as on a Sunday. So, thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. This isn't really an objection, but just something for us to think about, that during this October, I had a lot of residents reach out to me in the areas that we made resident only, and explained that they for whatever reason, had use of a vehicle that wasn't registered in Salem or wasn't registered to them, and that might be a bigger problem for us to address in a different way, but this isn't going to solve it for everyone. I guess I just want to say that, that a lot of our residents would be affected by it.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. What are we motioning?
Thank you, ma'am. I'd move for first passage.
Okay, so Council McCarthy moves for adoption for first passage. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor.
An ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to the Youth Commission composition.
Council McCarthy,
Thank you, Madam President. I'd move for first passage.
adoption for first passage.
Adoption for first passage. Thank you.
You're welcome. Council McCarthy moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion?
No, I think it's just that they've recognized the need to adopt the ordinance and for the composition, so I would recommend that we do so.
Seeing no further discussion on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor. She's got a lot to communicate.
We have an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to parking, Chapter 42, Section 75, parking prohibitions, tow zone, resident sticker of Chapter 42 traffic is hereby amended by adding the following streets to the list of streets restricting parking to residents only from October 1st to November 1st.
Waiving the reading?
Yes.
Okay, Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for first passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion?
I want to thank the administration and everybody that collectively tried to alleviate some of the parking issues with regards to October. This is now we all go through, it seems like the last couple of years, or a bunch of years, we all go through the list about trying to add that extra street, and somehow it didn't get added to the ordinance, and therefore then we have to bring it back in under a special order and get it adopted. This list that we didn't read, that reflects that list up to date up until this year, that these are all the streets that were ordered that weren't part of the ordinance, and now it just is going to make it so it's easier for our DPS department come next year, that they know specifically what streets to hang those beautiful orange signs on. Unless, of course, this body comes up with some more streets next year. But for right now, I give everybody a lot of credit, because the follow through on this is to basically take everything that we've done over the last 6 weeks prior to October and the month of October to add the streets accordingly. So,
thank you. Councilor Medora, then Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. I noticed there were a few missing on this list.
There were? You're kidding.
That had specifically requested the signs this year. Mall Street and Winter Street are two of those. I think Winter Street already had signs. For some reason, it was not on this list.
Okay, so you want to add those two streets?
Yes.
Amend it?
And then a third one, Beacon Street.
Beacon?
Only because I think the increased activity from the pickleball court, in addition to the visitor parking creep into that neighborhood, this year specifically has put a lot of pressure on Beacon Street. So I would like to add Beacon Street to this list as well, and I hope I'm not missing any more.
Okay, Councilor Sargent, then Councilor McCarthy.
thank you, Madam President.
Nope, I said
friendly
Councilor
amendment.
Sargent, then Councilor McCarthy, then Councilor Peterson.
Well, I could just very easily take care of this. I changed my motion for first passage and moved to send to committee, because if some people have some issues, that way it gives the good Ward 2 council the ability to run through, because we're all looking at this list. I looked at it real quick. I do like the one caveat in this that's added in here. It says In any other streets the police chief deems necessary, which gives some discretion to the police chief. Because during the month of October, as we just heard, sometimes there's that creep. We had some creep this year. There's that creep that affects the neighborhood, that affects the ability for people to use a pickleball court. So that way it wouldn't have to come back to us as an ordinance form. It allows the chief to have that discretion. So I like that addition. But before we do this, I would think that I'll just give everyone a couple days, the weekend or whatever. We'll try to schedule a meeting prior to our next meeting, and then we can add whatever streets that we deem necessary, and then can kind of put this to bed until next September.
Great. Okay, Councilor Sargent, did you have anything to add?
No, just quickly, if committees could,
And then
because
Councilor Peterson.
only because I saw a few streets on here that are full-time residents took a park in, and I know for sure on one that are also on the part-time residents took a park in list, so they get the sticker again, and it's redundant, but it'd be good to have it just be the streets that are October streets.
Oh.
Thank you.
Councilor Peterson.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm sure somebody did it seems like somebody did a really thorough job putting this list together, and I just want to express thanks, and kind of for the benefit of anyone who's following along at home, this list is more comprehensive in Ward 3 Precinct 1 in the Gesna neighborhood than we had this year. A lot of the little side streets that might not have been captured, that we got a lot of phone calls about, ended up on here without me suggesting it. So I appreciate whoever compiled this list.
Thank you. Okay, so Councilor McCarthy, you're changing your motion to refer to the Committee on Ordinance Licenses and Legal Affairs. Are you co-posting?
Sure.
Okay, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole on Councilor McCarthy's motion. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further communications from the mayor received after the deadline of Tuesday noon. Councilor McCarthy. This is this is page 14.1. The city clerk should have put a copy on everyone's desk, and Councilor McCarthy, you're it.
I have it, hold on. I don't know where I put it, though. I just had it. Oh, no, I got it. Oh, here it is. Communication from city officials received after the deadline.
Yep.
Is this the Tom Daniel one or the park?
No,
the first one?
14.1. We need this Tom.
Ordered that the city-owned parking lot adjacent to the MBTA.
No, you got to move for a suspension of the rules
I
first,
have to move for a suspension. I move for a suspension of the rules.
to allow the matter to come before council.
Council McCarthy moves for suspension of the rules to allow the matter to come before the council due to the late file. I thought that was already written.
Oh, was I supposed to read that?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I'll read
Then, seeing no objection, Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Order that the city-owned parking lot adjacent to the MBTA commuter rail station known as the Crescent Lot, 252 Bridge Street, Assessors Map 26, Lot 408, is hereby declared surplus property as it is not needed for municipal use, and that the matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted Committee of the Whole due to the late file.
And because it's late file, there's no discussion. So on Councilor McCarthy's motion that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole due to the late file. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
She has one. Sorry.
Mayor's informational page, none.
No, there's another one.
No, that's further.
23.
That's on
Page
23.
Oh, okay.
See how it has the 23.1?
You got it.
Yep. Okay, so motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy. This is handicap.
No, I know. I have another one, so I have to make sure I got the right one.
Got it.
More than one. Perkins Street. Boys basketball. I have Perkins Street, but I don't have the other one. I don't have Perkins Street. I have repeal of fines.
This is Perkins Street. You're saying you don't have Perkins
I
Street?
don't have it in front of me currently.
Should we take a 1-minute recess for you to
Yep,
find
could
it?
I just have 1 minute, please?
Yep. Will anyone move for a 1-minute recess?
So moved.
So moved. Okay, we are in recess.
I don't have that one. Thank you, Madam President. That was my fault. I apologize.
City of Salem, year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking, tow zone, limited time, be it ordained the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, repeal Perkins Street in front of number 36 for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking, tow zone, limited time. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter.
Move for adoption for first passage.
I move for adoption for first passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Briefly, Madam President, it was brought to the attention of myself and the police traffic that the person who this handicap space was created for has moved, and so we're repealing it.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. In the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 17A, Schedule to fines and penalties. Be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Chapter 42 is hereby amended by repealing and replacing the following within Section 17A, Schedule of fines and penalties of Article 1. Section 13B, I'm not going to read them all. Waive the reading.
Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. On discussion, basically,
You didn't make a motion.
I
There's no
move
motion.
to first passage.
You want to adopt for first passage, or do you want to refer it to
No,
committee?
I would like to send this to committee.
Okay, are you co-posting?
Co-posted.
Okay, so Council McCarthy is referring this to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, since you're still standing under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Basically, the fines relative to parking violations within the city, we dealt with this prior to Halloween with regards to a special order for the month of October. It's become brought to our attention through basically by the actions of people and the interactions with the different staff in the police department, is that our fine schedule in some instances is too low, and in other instances it doesn't. These are public safety matters, and they need to be more. They have to have more. People have to think twice about if they're going to, like, just per chance of parking in a fire lane, $15. I'm sorry. I don't want to put Councilor Flynn on the spot, but if there was somebody parked in a fire lane, they had a fire truck, I think they'd take the fire truck and push the car out of the way. So, I mean, that's if there was a fire. But the other fact of the matter is, someone's got to, I mean, for $15 and you can't find a parking space and you're going to park in a fire lane, and God forbid there's in a fire, you want to put a little more teeth behind it so someone thinks twice about that. I mean, a lot. I hate to say it, the way that things work today, everyone looks on their phone and they can look up what the fee schedules are and what they are. And if someone realizes that it costs $15 to park in a fire lane, and it's only $15, and they're going to spend more time, whatever, some people just look at it as $15, and they're like, okay, that's nothing. Well, maybe $50 is a little more. And there's a whole updated fine schedule, a fee schedule, whichever way you want to refer to it, with regards to these. And I think, as on merit, I think that some of them really do need to be evaluated. And I think for first blush that they seem. But I'd just like to get someone from the police department in to talk about them, and make sure that we're doing as much as we can, and then refer this back. So my motion is to send it to the committee. We don't need that in there.
Okay. In seeing no further discussion on Council McCarthy's motion to refer this to Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, in the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking zone, limited time, be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, Osgood Street in front of number 54 for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking zone, limited time. In Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by City Charter, and I move for adoption for first passage.
Councilor Madore moves for adoption for first passage. Any discussion?
Very quickly, I'm getting several requests for handicap parking spaces. I see it as an indication that we are a very age-friendly city. People would like to live here long-term, but they're having mobility issues, especially with driving and then not being able to park in front of their house. And I foresee many more of these coming And I would really like to see something done holistically so that I'm not dealing with these spaces piecemeal, because we could easily create these spaces all across the city because people are continuing to age. So I think this is an indication of a much larger issue. And for Mr. Snow, specifically, he's getting older and he doesn't want to park down the block and then walk to his house. So I think we really need to look at this more deeply, and he needs a spot. So, thank you.
Thank you. So on Councilman Dorr's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, year 2018, ordinance to amend ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 75, parking prohibitions, towing zone resident sticker, and Chapter 42, Section 57A, parking time limited unmetered zones by adding the following. Section 1, Chapter 42, Section 75, parking prohibitions, towing zone resident sticker, Broadway, parking prohibitions, towing zone resident sticker, Zone E, color orange, northeasterly side, starting at the intersection with Loring Avenue and ending at the intersection with Canal Street. Broadway parking prohibitions, towing zone resident sticker, Zone E, color orange, southwesterly side, starting at the intersection with Loring Avenue and ending at the intersection with Canal Street, 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. Section 2, Chapter 42, Section 57A, parking time limited unmetered zones, Broadway parking time limited unmetered zone, southwesterly side, starting at the intersection with Loring Avenue and ending at the intersection with Canal Street, 2-hour parking, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Section 3, these ordinances shall take effect as provided by city charter. And I move for adoption for first passage.
Councilor Terrio moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, this is a response to the eternal game of SSU parking whack-a-mole that we're always playing, where people start to discover by word of mouth a neighborhood with no restrictions at all, and they start to park there to the point where people who live there and people who need to do business there aren't able to. So this is what we came up with. There are some businesses on that street, so we're putting in place a 2-hour parking restriction for those businesses, which we worked out by checking what the operating time of the businesses was, and then making it available in the evenings to people in the neighborhood, and also creating resident spaces for people in the neighborhood. So there is, to echo a bit of what my colleague from Ward 2 said, there's no real perfect holistic solutions, and we've started to work on that. There are some aspects, some proposals that are remaining in committee at this point for addressing some of these parking issues more efficiently. But until then, we just continue to create, resident parking zones and all the like. But this will help with a problem in that neighborhood. So,
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Councilor Terrio's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, in the year 2018, an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to parking through traffic, Chapter 42, Section 50B, handicap parking zone, limited time, be ordained by the City Council of the City of Salem as follows. Section 1, to be placed on Webster Street, 20 feet in an easterly direction from the corner of Pleasant Street, starting at number 17, and running in an easterly direction on Webster Street for a distance of 20 feet, handicap parking zone, limited time. Section 2, this ordinance shall take effect as provided by city charter. And I move for adoption for first passage.
Councilor Madore moves for adoption for first passage. Under discussion.
Yes. It's exact same situation as I said before. Elderly resident used to be parked at another handicap space across the street. Unfortunately, that resident across the street had passed away, and somebody else moved in, continued to use that space, so there is more demand for these spaces, and so we're hoping to help out this resident by placing one of these handicapped spaces. But through you to our city clerk, I think we needed to change the address of the resident to 18 Pleasant Street. Can we do that? Can we do that? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. So on Councilman Dora's motion for adoption for first passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further motions, orders, and resolutions. Council Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem City Council, November 15, 2018, ordered that the corner of Lafayette Street and Ocean Avenue be named Frenchor Square in honor of U.S. Army Signal Sergeant Benoit Frenchor, and I move for adoption.
Council Terrio moves for adoption. Under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Very briefly, I'll read this letter from the Veterans Council. So, Francois Square to be located in Ward 5 at the corner of Lafayette Street and Ocean Avenue in honor of U.S. Army Signal Sergeant Benoit Frenchor, who was the first local resident to make the supreme sacrifice in the Korean War on September 3rd, 1950. Sergeant Frenchor was the uncle of Jane Guy, our Assistant Community Development Director. So, this is something that is somewhat near and dear. My father was a Marine during the Korean conflict and during that war, and he served. So, recognizing somebody with such a significant place in our service history is something that's important.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on Council Terrio's motion for adoption, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Committee reports. Council McCarthy.
Thank you. No more orders, motion, resolutions?
Oh, wait, any
files?
late file motion?
Nope.
No? Thank you for the reminder.
City of Salem City Council, November 15, 2018, the Committee on Ordinance License of the Legal Affairs Co-Postal Committee of the Whole to whom was referred the matter of granting certain licenses, has considered the matter, recommend the following licenses be granted. Tag Day, Salem High School, boys basketball, 11/18 and 11/25.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Councilor McCarthy's motion or on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. The City of Salem City Council, November 15, 2018, the Committee on Ordinance License and Legal Affairs Co-Postal Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of amending an ordinance relative to public guides, Chapter 40, Article 2, Division 1, has considered the matter and recommended a positive recommendation to the full City Council.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Thank you, Madam President. Briefly, we had a committee meeting last week, or this past week, or whenever it was, and we brought in the police chief, some members of some owners of local guide companies, and we talked about some of the issues relative to the issues in public guides, specifically around amplification. And we determined that we needed to amend the ordinance to allow, give some teeth to the police chief and her staff with regards to enforcement. So the new ordinance is relative to certain areas that are in residential zones where they can no longer will be able to use amplification. The ordinance also talked about limiting the size of the groups, and leaving that to the discretion of the police chief. At certain times of the year, the group, she can, during the month of October, or when in April and May, when the school groups are in, she can limit or change the size of the groups accordingly to accommodate what the needs are at that time. We felt it was, the committee felt it was important to move forward with it. There was some discussion about expanding some of the scope of it, but right now the need was to get this on the book, specifically with amplification, to try to, that seems to be one of the major complaints, especially in those residential neighborhoods where those homes are located near, where the amplification's right outside the window, so to limit that, and also to make sure that everyone knows about it, so therefore, if someone's being aggrieved by a group because they're amplifying outside, that the police can come in and say, hey, you guys got to move or we're going to shut you down. So I thought that was important. So I'll yield the floor, but the matter was, the recommendation was to approve.
Thank you. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Just through you, maybe to Ward 1 Councilor. I had added Higgins Square as one of the streets.
It's on there.
Yeah, did I?
Yep.
Was that included?
Yep.
Because,
It was in the amended.
okay. So order we got.
I just don't have that one.
Okay. Just want to make sure my amendment to add Higgins Square as one of the streets where amplification is prohibited is
Second.
included in the amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrio.
Thank you, Madam President. I was just going to talk procedure. I recall that being adopted in the, in there for the amendments, so then we'd be voting on for first pass. The recommendation would be to vote for adoption for first passage as amended in committee.
Correct.
Okay. Any further discussion? Seeing none, on adoption of the recommendation as amended in committee. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. The City of Salem City Council, November 15, 2018, the Committee on Ordinances, Licensing, and Legal Affairs co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of reviewing the Salem Affordable Housing Trust Ordinance along with Council Order 65. This was 155. Hold on one second.
Yeah, that's the new one.
This was out of order, but that's fine. The Committee on Licensing and Legal Affairs co-posed the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred reviewing the Salem Affordable Housing Trust Ordinance along with Council Order number 65 and report back to the full council regarding recommendations for positive changes to the ordinance as considered said matter and sent to the full council with no recommendation.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? The matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I just took them out of order. Basically, Councilor Madore had brought this order in relative to the next order, which is Council Order number 65. And we adopted Council Order 65, which is the addition of line 17, which kind of, section 17, it came out of the committee report. Anyway, part of the additional order was to review the addition of that line as to, in relative to the ordinance as to whether we needed to look at to make any changes to anything else in the whole ordinance, including the addition of line 17. And we did that, and by doing so, after the addition of line 17, we felt there was no need for any additional changes. So this matter basically goes away because there was no need to make any changes. So it would be like there's no recommendation.
So
The order was to review. We reviewed it, and there was no. Our recommendation is there is no recommendation. We don't recommend any additional changes, except for the one we're going to add right now.
Adopting the recommendation, which is no recommendation.
There you go. That works for me.
Okay, so an
We
adoption.
batted about how we were on. We were going to do that in committee.
So could I say on adoption of the non-recommendation?
Exactly.
Okay.
Adoption of the review.
On adoption of the non-recommendation based on the review of OLA. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries.
Thank you.
Further committee report.
In the City of Salem City Council, November 15, 2018, the Committee on Ordinance, Licensing, and Legal Affairs co-posted the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of the ordinance amending the Affordable Housing Trust Fund Board of Trustees, has considered this amendment and recommend send to the full council with a positive recommendation.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Madam President, this is basically Council Order number 65, which was brought in by the mayor. It's the addition of line 17 to the ordinance in the section of duties. And it basically, as you run through the other 16 previous, looking at them, they're all talk about acquiring property and how they do that and stuff. The 17, in a nutshell, is just basically gives the housing authority the ability to go out and evaluate housing needs and come up with a strategic plan as to how to address those needs. It's basically without having the exact language in front of me, that's what the committee looked at, and that's what we decided to recommend. We recommended that change because that just allows the Housing Trust Board to be able to go out and solicit input, solicit consultants to come in and look at our housing, what we need, where we need to adopt change or make recommendations to. As you know, we've all been in countless meetings over the last couple of years, and the number one topic, both here in Salem and you hear from Mayor Walsh in Boston and the whole region, is the lack of housing, especially affordable housing, is in direct correlation to the ability of working families in order to stay and maintain and live in homes in the city in which they work. It's very difficult. And so this, just by adding that section 17, allows the Affordable Housing Trust Board to come up with some strategies on how we can, as a city, move forward and try to look at that.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion on adoption of the recommendation, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further committee reports. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem, in City Council, November 15, 2018. The Committee on Community and Economic Development co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of discussing the expansion of the HDIP zone to include additional parcels, has considered said matter and would recommend a public hearing be held on November 29, 2018 at 6:30 p.m.
On acceptance of the report, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. On adoption of the recommendation, under discussion.
Yes, very briefly. This is, if we're going to pass this, the state requires us to hold a public hearing. I brought that matter up to the city clerk and the city planner prior to this. We actually held 2 meetings on this. We jointly determined what was the fastest and soonest date that we could hold a public hearing on. So the city planner, the city clerk agreed to a date. I shared that date with the committee and at least one more counselor who was present, so a total of 6 counselors, and that date of the 29th was good for them. But that wasn't part of our of the motion. Our motion was simply to approve this, rather than refer it back positively. It came back approved to the whole city council. So I'd suggest that we do set a date of for the public hearing for the city council on November 29th. That's a Thursday night, 2018, at 6:30 p.m. It did work for everybody else that needs to be there. So there's 5 more counselors. Hopefully it works for you as well.
Okay, so
That being said, with regard to the HDIP itself, if I can speak on that very briefly, what it is, so that people at home will know what it is.
Okay.
It's just an expansion of the zone that we approved about a year and a half ago now, that would include the downtown, the North River Canal Corridor, and then 3 satellite properties being St. James School, the Immaculate Conception School, and 5 Broad Street. The HDIP is a tool that will have to assist in some complicated projects to allow them to be better redeveloped or repurposed. That being said, I recommend that we approve it and we set a date for the public hearing on November 29th. Thank you, Madam President.
can I ask for
Yes.
clarification though?
Sure, yes.
So for public hearing, are you suggesting a committee meeting or are
No, it would be
Okay.
of the entire city. The state requires the city council to hold a public hearing, not a committee.
Got it. Okay, so I am not here. So I guess the question to the city clerk then, do I appoint a president pro tempore, or what happens in this? Or if we can do it the following week. I'm here the following week, but I'm not here that week. So
Again, we were trying to speed this along.
right,
at the
and
request of one
that's
of
the thing, that
councilors.
I completely, while I would like to be here for this, because a lot of the parcels do affect my ward, but I do understand the timeliness of this, so I just have to figure out procedurally what to do. Councilor Terrell, you have your hand up, so, okay.
I'm
Will-
okay whichever way you would like to go, Madam President.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Terrell?
Thank you, Madam President. I would recommend in this particular case, for the purposes of the hearing, that you're within your powers to appoint a counselor to chair the meeting in your absence.
Okay.
I would recommend, since this is going through community and economic development already, that you appoint the Ward 7 counselor to chair the meeting in your absence in this case, and chair the public hearing, and the rest of us come, and then he can handle that.
Okay. Okay, so, but everyone else can make the 29th? Okay, so, so that's fine. I'll figure out what to do for President pro tempore. And in the meantime, so adoption of the recommendation being that the committee approved this, and that the recommendation is based on the timeline by the state that the meeting be held on November 29th at 6:30 p.m. Okay, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Okay, further committee reports. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. City of Salem and City Council, November 15, 2018. The Committee on Community and Economic Development co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, to whom was referred the matter of discussing the HDIP zone amendment proposal. Sounds very familiar. Has considered said matter and would recommend a public hearing be held on November 29, 2018 at 6:30 p.m.
So again, that, just so that I'm clear, that wasn't discussed in committee or that was discussed in committee? It was.
It was discussed in committee,
Okay.
and it came back with a recommendation for approval for this as well.
Okay, so the committee voted and said that they wanted to meet on November 29th at 6:30. I just want to make sure that we're...
It was discussed in committee, but the motion was for approval and not for a favorable recommendation nor for this specific meeting. The meeting time was set, penciled in prior to the meeting with the city clerk, the city planner, and then discussed at the beginning of the meeting. And I had intended to make it part of the motion, or recommend that it be part of the motion, but we didn't get there, and the meeting ended very fast.
Okay.
So this is part of the previous motion, the same matter. It just has two different parts according to the state rules.
Okay. Madam City Clerk, I'm a little confused. Usually the committee report is something that they actually voted on. Right.
Just looking at the committee report that was left, I just saw the date on it, so that's how it got on the agenda that way, but you can't really approve it until you hold your public hearing. It's the public hearing and granting it at a public hearing is really passing the HDIP zone and the parcels. So,
Okay,
so that's really, the gist of it was to meet, discuss it, and then to like come up with a date to hold it, and that's why the date is on here. It was on the committee,
Even though
the minutes. So
even though it wasn't voted on in the committee, it's okay.
I saw it on there. That's all I could, that's how I read it. You know, because I read them afterwards and try to put these together.
And that's copacetic, that applies.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we have to have the public hearing.
We do have to have the public
So
hearing. I just want to
that's-
make sure that this is...
Yes, Madam President, the public hearing is required by the state, as I indicated earlier.
Right, but you guys didn't discuss it. You guys didn't vote on it. That's the only thing that I'm getting a little hung up on, is that there was no formal vote to specifically set the date. And usually when we are doing committee reports, the committee says we voted on favorably, unfavorably, or no recommendation.
That's
And so
correct.
that's where I'm getting hung up.
When the
And
meeting,
already said
when the
that.
meeting
They
ended, the meeting ended abruptly, and I was taking notes, and it's pretty
Why did it
comical
end
that we wrapped up all, I mean, it was a 2.5-hour meeting or so, whatever it was. It was a long meeting, and we just approved it. We all agreed that we were going to send this back to the city council to set the date and recommend the HDIP. But the way that we closed the meeting was different than we close typical committee meetings.
Council Chair.
Thank you, Madam President. Normally, when we have one of these come forward, it comes in and we first refer it to hold the public hearing. When this came in, it was referred to committee. So the committee wound up dealing with it as if it was a regular committee matter, but the public hearing still has to be scheduled. So, so it's a step in checking off all the procedures and doing the thing right. So, we're within our powers to call for the public hearing now that it's coming out of committee. We can't vote on the final approval until the public meeting has been held. The committee has already approved it. We're all fine with it. The public meeting will be held in 2 weeks, assuming we vote on this now, and then we'll take any input, and then at our December meeting, we will either send it back to committee or we will affirm the result of the committee vote. Either way, it's fairly simple. And complicated how we got there, but fairly simple what we have to do.
Okay. Councilman Dorr? Councilman Dorr.
Thank you, Madam President. So at the public hearing, will we be voting on a recommendation? Is that the goal of the public hearing?
We'll be voting on to accept the housing development zone and the proposed and the proposal
So
to
what we
include the
had-
additional parcels.
So what we had approved at the last meeting for, the last committee meeting is to approve the date? Which,
I wasn't here, but that's typically what had well, what the discussion should have been. You can talk about the nuts and bolts of it, but it has to come out to hold a hearing, whether it's approve and to hold a hearing and whether confirm this date or change the date. But the essence is that without a public hearing, this can't go any further. So you need the public hearing, regardless of what was said or what the last motion was in committee at the end of the meeting. This has to happen, so whether it's just been recommend approval and then we stand here and talk about a date, we were just trying to throw out a date ahead of time. And if it didn't get discussed in the committee meeting, that's fine because it can't really get approved without the public hearing anyways. So I think as long as everybody's still in agreement on the public hearing, we should just accept that and hold the hearing, and then it gets approved in the hearing. So when everybody has, from the public and the people to talk about the parcels and how it affects them. And
yeah, because
if
my
they have-
understanding is the proposal is
They have to submit
the
that to-
paperwork that
you
went
have to-
with the
right.
expansion of the zone, so it's two
You have-
different
Well,
matters.
it came together as a package, but we separated it just because it was not part of the it's a separate than the order. So it has to go to the State Department of Community and Housing with the public hearing being held and that it was accepted.
So-
Both the proposal and the expansion of the
So
parcels.
the outcome of this public hearing, one public hearing, is to
It's for both.
Somehow
Accept the
somehow come up with a recommendation, positive, negative, no recommendation for both the zone expansion and the proposal.
You have to approve the zones, the additional parcels,
So
and
two
the proposal.
recommendations.
And the proposal that has to be sent then to the Department of Community and Housing Development.
So two recommendations coming back to us in December to vote on.
No, going to be taken care of at the public hearing. That's what the public hearing
Wait,
is
the
for.
public hearing is going to actually be a vote?
No, but the public hearing that you'll know if you're going to accept that. If you're going to accept the HDIP and the expansion of the parcels. It's to vote on that. And you can make a recommendation at that point.
So the full council is voting on the recommendations for passage, for approval
Approval.
at the public hearing. It's not coming back for December.
Councilor McCarthy. Go ahead.
Okay,
I
so
will
that's-
yield the floor.
That's a concern for me, because as I said, I'm not here. And a lot of these parcels are in my ward. So that's a problem. I don't think that I can just assign someone pro tempore without me being here. I'm back the following Saturday.
Can I just make a comment if I could, please?
Councilor Sargent.
Thank you, Madam President. We've had public hearings where they ended, and we had a council meeting right afterwards.
Right, and that's what I was,
I think we may be able to have this public hearing and then set the meeting, not right afterwards, but at a future date, and then you'd be able to be here. So I think we can do that.
I'm just concerned about votes being taken, me not being able to have input on the HDIP zone, potential HDIP zone expansion where this is directly affecting my ward. And I'm still kind of,
Just the public hearing.
but you're saying that a vote's going to be taken?
Well, I mean, we'll know you're going to be discussing whether their recommendation of it going to be approved. Like as in a joint public hearing, like, you know what you're recommending to refer to the planning board. This is, like, you're knowing what you're going to be recommending for the outcome of it.
But so if a vote is
If you
taken
wanna-
up or down at the public hearing, then
No.
that's it?
No, you like he said, you can do either a special meeting afterwards, or you can, I wouldn't wait till December, but,
I mean, 30 days are in November, so you're talking about Thursday or do it the following Monday?
if you want to be here, then we can.
Yeah, I can be here the
Mhm.
following Monday. So Monday the 3rd, I can be here. Councilor McCarthy?
Thank you, Madam President. we're going to have a public hearing. Typically, we don't take votes at public hearings.
Right.
Public hearing,
This is what I'm
we
confused
gather
by.
information, the matter's referred back to the council. So the vote, any vote about a recommendation can only happen in this chamber. It can't happen at the public hearing. It shouldn't. I mean, I
Right.
guess it could, but it won't. And we will just make sure that the vote will gather the information. People from the, maybe someone from the public has some information that wasn't brought up in committee that may affect a change to this. So right now, from what I can gather, is the committee, it's kind of like the committee did its legwork and kind of looked at some stuff prior to having the public hearing. It's kind of like putting the cart before the horse, and now we're trying to do it the other way, which is fine. We're going to let people still have a say, and if that say influences any decision that the committee looked at, then we're still going to have to come back to this chamber and have a vote. So I don't think, if your apprehension is the fact that you're not going to be here,
Right.
there's going to be a committee, there's going to be a public hearing. People from the public who want to input on this issue can come in and speak. They'll hear what the presentation was, much what will happen in committee, and then they can have their input. And if that input affects the decisions, then we'll adjust accordingly. But if not, then it will come back and it'll be what the recommendation is, and then we'll take a vote at the next meeting. I mean, this isn't something that can be voted at a public hearing or committee. This has to be voted at the full city council.
But you can have a meeting if you want
Exactly.
to after.
But I mean, I don't.
So, this will be away. It won't. So, yeah.
What did you say?
No, I just said you could have a meeting after you close the hearing, but if you want to wait till you're back, we could do that. Whether it's a special meeting or part of the December 6th meeting.
No.
13th,
13.
I'm sorry, no, the 6th. The 6th. The 13th is a joint public hearing, that's not our regular meeting.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we just do it at the 6th.
Okay, do both of them at the 6th instead?
No, not the public hearing on whatever day it's at.
Yes, we need that.
Okay, so then I need to get the recording.
Yes.
Okay, Okay, I won't belabor this. Okay, so. Councilor Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't mind changing the date of the public hearing. I'm available. Just want to note that.
You're available right now. Someone might have a say in that. You may not have a choice.
Okay, so everyone else can do the 29th. Okay. Okay, so the vote then is that we're going to do a public hearing on the 29th, and then we're going to discuss it again at the 6th?
Sure.
Does that make sense? Okay. Okay, so on the adoption of the recommendation that a public hearing be held on November 29th at 6:30 PM. All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Thank you for letting me understand that. Okay, communications from city officials.
The communication from Jane Guy, Assistant Community Development Director, on behalf of the Community Preservation Committee regarding the resignation letter from Kevin Canaccio from the Community Preservation Committee.
Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that it be received and filed, and that the City Council proceed to fill this vacancy.
On Councilor Dibble's motion that this be received and filed, and that the city council proceed to fill this vacancy. Under discussion?
Very briefly, I wasn't aware that Mr. Canaccio was stepping down. I'm troubled to hear that. I'll give him a call, but I can't comment on it. Thank you.
Yeah, he, because he accepted a position with the city, he felt that it was a conflict, so that's why he stepped down. Councilor McCarthy, then Councilor Terrell, you had your hand, or Councilor McCarthy?
Yes, that answers that question, and I would, the recommendation would be, my recommendation would be to you as council president. The CPA was adopted a bunch of years ago when the city council had to go through this process that we came up with Mr. Canaccio. And the way it's set up is the city council gets to appoint two. So
And Moriarty.
And Mr. Moriarty is the second one. So right now, when their appointments came re-up, they were doing such a great job. we just reappointed them. So now this will be the first time we've had to fill a vacancy. So I believe I would have to go back to look how we established how we were going to do.
What was the criteria?
I think we asked for people to submit letters. I'm not really sure, so I will leave that up to you.
Okay.
But, as council president, but I believe that's what we did. I think we had letters that were submitted from people who are interested in stepping up and serving on the committee. And then I think we referred it to a committee, and I think some committee looked at the different, and we narrowed the choices down, and we brought those choices forward. So whatever, I don't 100% recall what it was, but that's similar to the process we used. Different categories.
It's kind of ironic that started the year with the city clerk search, and now I'm going to end the year with...
Yes, there you go.
Thanks.
Councilor Fury.
Madam President, could we send a city seal to Mr. Canaccio? He's been a founding member of that Community Preservation Act, and he made that come alive and put a lot of time and service into it. A city seal would be appropriate, I think, to say, thank you, a job well done.
Yes,
Thank you.
and as one of my neighbors, I have been kind of harassing him about leaving, but, so I'm taking care of it. Okay, so on Councilor Dibble's motion that's be received and filed, and that the city council proceed to fill the vacancy, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Communications from city officials received after the deadline of Tuesday noon. Council McCarthy.
Councilor McCarthy moves suspension of the rules to allow the matter to come before the council due to the late files. Rules, section 28A.
Seeing no objection, Council McCarthy.
We have a communication received by Tom Daniel, Executive Director of the Salem Redevelopment Authority, regarding the transfer of the crescent-shaped lot of the MBTA commuter rail station to the SRA. Since the SRA does not own the lot, the city would need to transfer ownership to them to include the property in the disposition process.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, License, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole due to the late file.
Council McCarthy moves that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs, co-posted with the Committee of the Whole, and due to the late file, there's no discussion, so all those in favor, all those opposed, matter carries. Petitions.
We have a request from the Boys and Girls Club to hold their annual Wild Turkey Run and use the city streets on Thursday, November 22nd, 2018.
Council Madore.
Thank you, Madam President. Move for this to be granted.
Council Madore moves that this be granted under discussion.
Yes, Madam President. I'm not sure why this is being introduced by me.
They're starting out of the New Liberty Street, the visitor center this year.
Okay.
So it's a slightly different
Is that
course.
the award?
Is that
Starting.
Is that the only difference?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't do my homework on this one.
Yeah, they go out to Winter Island, do a loop out around the parking lot, and then they come back.
Okay. Well, I've known about this race several years, and I hope they have a good race, and hope it doesn't get too cold next week.
Yeah, last year was warm. It was nice. Okay, so on Council Madore's motion that this be granted, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have a handful of public guides.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. Move to be granted.
Council McCarthy moves that this be granted. Any discussion?
No discussion,
No
Madam
discussion.
President.
All those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 3 secondhand valuable license applications.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Council McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 1 drain layer contract operator license application.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that it be granted.
Council McCarthy moves that these be granted. Seeing no discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 4 claims.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that these matters be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs.
Council McCarthy moves that these be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Further petitions.
We have 1 drain layer bond.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that this matter be referred to the Committee on Ordinances, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned approved.
Council McCarthy moves that this be referred to the Committee on Ordinance, Licenses, and Legal Affairs and returned approved. All those in favor? All those in favor? Do we have hands? Thank you, hands. All those opposed? Matter carries. Unfinished business.
Council Sergeant and Council Gerard's notice of reconsideration of the following order. Ordered that the National Grid Gas Company shall halt all non-emergency gas work in the city of Salem. This order shall remain in place until the lockout of National Grid gas work is over.
Councilor Sargent, do you want to start off? Or do you want me to start?
Well, we have
You want to take a
move for
motion for
Oh, okay.
reconsideration?
Okay, so there's no discussion before the move for reconsideration?
That's how you're able to
That's how
rediscuss.
you reconsider.
Oh, okay. You'd think I'd never done this before. So on the motion for reconsideration by roll call vote, Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Milo? Oops, sorry. Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
No.
And Councilor Gerard?
Yes. Thank you. On the motion for reconsideration by roll call vote, we have 9 councilors voting, 8 in the affirmative, 1 in the negative, 2 are absent. The matter carries. Okay, now we can.
Yep, we can read it go. So,
Councilor Sargent, do you want to start?
Yes, thank you, Madam
Okay.
President. I know that there was some concern because the Beverly local was not locked out, but I brought this in to mirror the state moratorium, which they're still not allowed to do the same work statewide. So they're still under the same moratorium that they would be from us as far as only being able to do non-emergency work and compliance work. But I did notice since then at the end that I ended my order with it'll be in place until the National Grid lockout is over. And I probably should have put down that it'll be over when the state moratorium is over. And having found out in the couple of weeks since this happened that the state Senate is also considering rules on what's going on with National Grid, I don't want to pass it now and be in conflict with something that they should pass, if they should pass it next week, 2 days from now. So I would ask that we put this in the Committee on Government Services and see where the state falls. I think the Senate is considering rules that deal with halt and price increases until the lockout is over, and 3 or 4 different things going on. I got that from the state. So I would respectfully ask that we refer this to the Committee on Government Services and see where everything comes out with this. Co-post it with Committee of the Whole.
Thank you. Councilor Fury?
Please, sorry about that. Getting over. Councilor Chua.
Thank you, Mr. President. The reason why I had asked for the reconsideration is that when I learned that it was actually Local 318 that was actually doing the work, and what I've come to learn as well, in addition to exactly what the Good at Large Councilor spoke of, that 318 not only, something is so incredible about being part of a union, that it really is, it's a brotherhood and it's a sisterhood. And so 318, from time to time, they do go to whenever there's any protests. They've also been very, very charitable and very active in raising funds for anyone who's been locked out and anyone who has come up in short since the lockout. And in speaking with their representatives, that for us to put a moratorium, it doesn't help the citizens of Salem, it doesn't help the union, it doesn't help a lot of people, and then it ends up hurting the union that we're trying to show support for. So I absolutely agree with the Good at Large Councilor's recommendation that I also, if I can second it, I will second going to Government Services and co-posting with the Committee of the Whole that we continue discussing this and keep a close eye on what the state is doing to support these efforts. Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Fury.
Yes, please. I think the whole issue of the National Grid is reprehensible, disgusting. Right? And as we head into the Thanksgiving season, these people have been locked out. And I think sincerely, the whole message behind the whole what we tried to deal with, maybe we didn't even realize there was another union involved. I'm a union person, believe in the union movement, but I think we have to send a message. I'm sorry, I'll be voting no. Councilor Turley always stood strong on his principle too, that the message has got to be clear. Thanksgiving season, a lockout this long, families, what a message to send. Disgraceful, injustice, we pay bills, we get 2 bills each for National Grid and electric in the mail. It's a multi-billion-dollar corporation. It's a billion-dollar corporation. And for God's sakes, every 5 years, these workers have to go on strike, and they have to go on strike for 3 or 4 months. I don't know how their families can do it. It's reprehensible, disgusting. It's it's a monopoly that they have National Grid, but the message should be sincere, clear, during Thanksgiving. And I agree, I'm going to be voting no on Councilor Turley.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Dibble.
Thank you, Madam President. I have to agree with the at-large counselor, both at-large counselors here. The gas workers, they do great work. They're professional. Joe O'Keefe's son is one of them. They take their job seriously. And to have others come in, not to Salem, I guess, which I'm not sure that's 100% true, but to come into a community and just replace the qualified workers, you don't know what kind of, with limited supervision on top of it, you don't really know what type of work you're going to get. About 2 or 3 weeks before we took this vote at our last meeting, I had a very large dump truck, a trailer, and an excavator parked in front of my house for 2.5 days, while a gas company replacement contractor from New Hampshire was doing work in Salem. So I thought that the local was locked out, or at least part of Salem was locked out. I had I wish I'd written down the contractor's name, but he was working on gas services out in the street throughout Ward 7. And he happened to park in front of the ward councilor's house for 2.5 days. So perhaps there were some contractors coming into Salem because I saw it personally, okay? And that's the reason why I voted for this. I want to see Joe O'Keefe and all of his brothers and sisters get back to work fully in Salem and outside of Salem.
They are at work.
Yes, but there was a contract from New Hampshire in front of my house 2 or 3 weeks before we took this vote.
And they contract that. They ask for that. Joe and others contract that and ask for that.
I think we can do better and see our local people doing the jobs here in Salem that care about the city than to have somebody excavating from New Hampshire. Sorry. Thank you, Madam President.
Councilor Terrell.
Thank you, Madam President. I will be voting no on this. I support, as mentioned, I supported the initial resolution. I do have no issue with changing the language to have mirrored the state's lockout language. My problem with this is not based on the people working over in Beverly who come over to do work in Salem out of that local. That hasn't been what it's all about for me. For me, it's about that 1,300 families have lost their breadwinner for the duration of this since this lockout began in the summer. And it's not a question of the union there, the union's there, and it's not the group in Beverly, not the crews in Beverly, the local there, but it's a significant chunk of workers, some of who probably are, and I will say, I didn't go and check where all the local people in that local live, but I'll give you good odds some of them live here in the city. To me, it's not just about Salem, it's about a bigger question than this, and it's about whether a big company can just impose terms on the people who work for it and say take it or leave it. It's about whether collective bargaining still means anything in the modern era. And with all the assaults we've had on unions, with all the attacks that have been made, I don't agree with every union on everything, and I don't agree with every contract, but in a case like this where there's a union that's willing to work under their existing contract that had run out until they could negotiate something else, and instead they were locked out, I just can't support the actions of a company that does that. So, that's my reason why I supported this in the first place. That's why I voted against the reconsideration, and that's why I'm also going to vote against making any change to it. So that's all.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Councilor Sargent.
I would still, reminds me of the medical term, first do no harm. We do have 2 locals that are still working in Salem. And the last thing I want to do is to have our wording be off to a point where the state now says statewide National Grid can work. They've settled whatever's going on with the lockout. And then all of a sudden, we still have the people that are working in Salem blocked out by our local ordinance. So so that's why I'm fine right now. I'd like to see the state ordinance, which is doing, the state ordinance is halting all non-emergency National Grid gas work statewide. It's doing exactly what we're trying to do. And I just don't want to see when that ends, that we have to wait for our next council meeting to end it in our area before guys can get back to work and support their families. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none. So on Councillor Sargent's motion to move this to Committee on Government Services, co-post with the Committee of the Whole, all those in favor? I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those opposed?
Opposed.
Okay, so 7-2, this passes. Further unfinished business.
We have second passage of an ordinance to amend an ordinance relative to zoning regarding short-term rentals, Section 3.0, Table of Principal Accessory Uses, and Section 10.0, Definitions.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage by
Council
roll call.
McCarthy.
By roll call vote.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage by roll call vote. Under discussion, since you sat down, no discussion. Unless anybody else wanted to say something. Seeing not, on Madam City Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Councilor Dibble?
Yes.
Councilor Flynn?
Yes.
Councilor Fury?
Yes.
Councilor Madore?
Yes.
Councilor McCarthy?
Yes.
Councilor Peterson?
Yes.
Councilor Sargent?
Yes.
Councilor Torrio?
Yes.
And Councilor Gerard.
Yes. Thank you. On the matter of the zoning ordinance amendments for short-term rentals, we have 9 councilors voting, 9 in the affirmative, none in the negative, and 2 are absent. The matter carries. Further unfinished business.
We have a second passage of an ordinance amending an ordinance relative to traffic, Chapter 42, Section 51, prohibited parking on certain streets, Cousin Street.
Council McCarthy.
Thank you, Madam President. I move for adoption for second and final passage.
Council McCarthy moves for adoption for second and final passage. Any discussion?
No discussion.
Seeing no discussion on Council McCarthy's motion for adoption for second and final passage, all those in favor? All those opposed? Matter carries. Okay, before we conclude, just want to remind everyone to have a healthy, happy Thanksgiving, and the first weekend in December is Christmas in Salem, and I know they're still looking for volunteers, and it's always a great time, and this year they're doing Derby Street, and on that note, Councilor Flynn.
Yes, a point of personal privilege.
Absolutely.
Today was a great day for the city of Salem and the fire department. I just want to mention that we do have a new chief that was sworn in today. Fabulous ceremony. He has the troops behind him. 100% was the right choice. Morale is up, and he is very, very confident. Chief Jinta is the right person to lead us into the future, well qualified, and I think it's a great thing. I just want to congratulate him and thank you for everyone that attended today. It was a great ceremony.
Yes.
One more thing.
Yes.
On a sadder note, one of our firefighters, Lieutenant Pat Tobin, his daughter, a senior in college, is in the fight of her life with lymphoma cancer. It's not a good situation, and just if everyone can keep the Tobin family in your thoughts and prayers.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Fury.
Motion to adjourn, Madam President.
Councilor Fury motions to adjourn. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.